Hello everybody and welcome back. The last time we cleared out this small room of 4 acolytes, we had a large fight here where we burnt the army of the undead. We put them to the torch. And then we fought some zombies in this temple of evil. And we ended with 2 turned zombies in this corner here. And we peppered them with arrows and crossbow bolts. We didn't bother fighting them. Off camera, these 2 died. And finally, we get to confront the priest. Well, we assume there's a priest because we have been told it, and this is the only door. So let's just barge in here and finish this guy off. And that's what we do. And lo and behold, go into room 59, and we're told it's the private chamber of the priest. Let's just attack on sight. What's his reaction role? He expected us to succumb to his guards, and he also has this entire army here. That is possible attack. Roll again. Okay, so he's now going to start spewing forth evil curses at us. He's probably asking, how did you get past my traps? And that is a 6, that's attack. So he's going to utter his command word to awaken this army. Unfortunately for him, it's dead. He follows that with a maniacal laugh, saying you'll never get out of here alive. More fool him. Let's roll for initiative. And he gets initiative, not good. Now the first thing he does is he has a snake staff. What is a snake staff? A snake staff is a magical staff. Upon command, it turns into a snake and coils around the creature struck. The command may be spoken when the victim is hit. You're allowed to make a saving throw. If not, the victim is held in this coiled snake. When freed, the snake crawls back to its owner. Okay, so that will be his first port of call. He will try to strike Donard with his snake staff. And he completely fails to. That's his turn. Our turn is missiles. We have 3 archers. He has an AC of -1. Stuart, short range and dex, hits. He takes 3 hit points off him. He's down from 14 to 11. Liz hits with all of her dex, short range and training, +4. Easily hits. AC -1, takes 4 more points off him. He's from 11 to 7. He's got 2 arrows sticking out of him. And Sylvia, with 1 for short range, hits AC 3. Not too bad. Right, melee, Donard, with a standard warhammer misses. And Carrick misses. Right, round 2. And we get initiative. Right, let's do that again. Stuart, with 3 onto that, is AC 1. Liz misses. Sylvia misses. Malon's gonna try a dagger and misses. He does try. Donard misses. Okay. Carrick. That was gonna be a 16. Misses. Right, his turn. He's gonna try that snake staff again. And he fails to hit. Right, round 3. And it's mutual. Let's do missiles. Stuart misses. Liz misses. Sylvia misses. Let's do spells. He is a level 3 priest. What spells does he have? Cause light wounds and cause fear. Those are both touch spells, so he's going to try cause light wounds on Donard. He misses. Donard's AC is 1. Then it's our melee. Our cleric misses. Our dwarf misses. Why did they put the 2 and the 20 beside each other? Why? Right. Round 4. And again, it's mutual. Let's do missiles. Stuart. Oh, fumbles badly. Sylvia. Misses. Liz. Misses. Malin. Nice. He does 3 damage. Excellent. And does he get a -1 penalty for his low strength because he's throwing a dagger? Interesting question. I'll say not this time. Magic spells. He's going to try and cast Cause Fear on Donard. 18. Oh, he does hit. I don't know why I rolled the damage dice. Right. Donard has to make a saving throw versus spells. And he fails. So Donard runs away in fear. We've never had this one before. Right, well that's Donard frightened for 2 turns. Okay. So let's do melee. So Donard runs off. Poor guy. He's got a helm of alignment change. And now he's running in fear. Carrick really fumbles. Right. It's round 4. Sorry, round 5. And we get initiative. Okay. Archery. Stuart. Sylvia. Liz. Yes. Finishes him off. I was going to do a morale check for him, even though he is not listed with the morale. If his morale had broken, he had 4 HP, there is a sort of script for him. If he's in real trouble, he will try to flee out of this secret door. He also has a potion of gaseous form, which turns him into smoke, and he would have been able to through the cracks of this secret door. And we're told he escapes through this boulder-filled cavern here as a cloud of gas. That's what his round would have been. He lost initiative. Right, so we have nothing to do but wait for Donard, who is crouching in this corner on his knees with his hands over his head. It's a really pitiful, humiliating sight, but maybe he gets to learn what it's like to be a turned undead. We have this entire place to loot, with this chamber to loot, with this throne to loot, with this room to loot, and then we're going to call it a day. So I'll be back in a minute with a looting session. Right, I've done a loot review of this area here, and it is pretty phenomenal. In this small room here, the antechamber, the guest room, there are some flagons and cups, and in total they're worth 1,400 gold pieces. Again, luckily we have a dwarf who's into his craftsmanship and can see that. In the room where we killed the priest, we're going to use another charge of the wand of magic detection, and he's got magical plate mail and a shield. We already have 1 magic plate mail, we can't take another, so we're just going to dump that. And we already have more shields than enough, we're just going to leave that. We can't carry everything. He also had a snake staff. Well, it's a staff. He never actually hit anyone with it, so we haven't seen its special abilities. Malin's going to drop his staff just there at his feet and take this new one. The priest has a wardrobe in his room, and we don't discover the false back to it. but when we open it, a lot of treasure spills out, and that, we're told, is his deterrent to stall any people chasing him, which was 500 gold pieces plus 500 gold pieces worth of gems. We're not going to look for this secret door, but I should imagine if this army of the undead were pursuing you this way, this secret door would be your escape route. Then we went back into this throne room, or this temple, and the throne had a grand total of 7,000 gold pieces worth of gems. That translates into 7,000 XP. There are several black and red small gems, but there was one large red gem which was big enough that it filled up Carrick's entire palm. Therefore it was probably the size of a tennis ball, and it is extremely attractive to him. His family, who are part of a clan, have no real family emblem. His brother might want it to be some sort of special bejeweled battle axe. Carrick would like it to be something a bit more aesthetically beautiful, something more covetous. Now the problem with all the gems here is that they're soaked in all of this evil atmosphere. So along with the plate mail that will be worn in the future by Donard and the Warhammer, we're going to have to take everything back to the temple in the keep and get it cleansed, get it sanctified, because we can't really sell these evilly tainted gems to some innocent storeholder. But there's something about that large red gem that will become like the Arkenstone from The Hobbit. Carrick thinks he has found his family heirloom. In this chamber here, 56, there are more flagons and cups and other things. We're carrying enough, so we don't take that. But what we do is we put all the evil writings into one of the large dishes and set fire to it, and we get an extra 600 XP for that. And we make it out of the temple, carrying everything. Now if you wanted to know why I changed this evil priest's mace +1 into a warhammer +1, and I did that because, well, we already found a mace +1 in the Eye of Traldar, and I've done my research into any upcoming modules, and they always have a mace +1. They never have a warhammer +1. The poor warhammer is forgotten, so that's why I made the change. We're finally out of this temple and it's night time. We have spent what must have been an eternity in this place. It feels like an eternity. So a complete roundup of the gems, the gold and the XP comes to 8,900 worth of gems, 500 gold coins and 600 miscellaneous XP. That is 11,000 experience points. If you entered this temple at level 2, most of your party will be at level 3, and since this is meant to be, I think, the last temple in the adventure, this is probably your last hurrah. So your party all level up and you walk away feeling good about yourself, ready to try something new. Let us get out of this God's forsaken place. And back here, and we have a few hours to make it to the campsite. And guess what? That's really uncertain weather. But it's still not looking too good. The rain looked like it was about to come down, but it left. So it's one of those dark nights, very dark nights, where the moon is shining through some tattered clouds, and every time there's a break in the clouds, you can see the night sky and the stars in between as the clouds scurries past in a high wind. And let's see if we make it back to our campsite without any wandering monsters, and we do. We're out of all of our healing potions for the first time since, well, we began. Right way at the beginning, the adventurer who brought Alina back to the temple gave us a healing potion, and we've always had one in all the months since, but now we have none. But we have a level 4 cleric and a level 3 mage. So let us camp down for the night. It's a cold, windy night at the campsite. The starry sky can be seen behind the scurrying clouds. The party are bedding down for the night. Donard and Sylvia are on first watch. Malin is lying on his bedroll, looking up at the stars. Then he props himself up on one elbow. "That evil priest," he asks his sister, "why did he call you a blabbermouth?" "He didn't call me that," Liz retorts. Donard turns to Sylvia. "Why did you mention Yalarum? What's going on?" "You were speaking to some foreign men when we first arrived here," Malin recalls. "Well," Sylvia begins with a sigh, "we were talking to these gentlemen from Yalarum, and Liz interrupts, "they let slip that they were looking for the Iron Ring." "But why?" asks Carrick. "I don't think they meant to," says Liz. "They didn't know who we were, and they started talking about the Black Eagle Keep. They probably thought we were just two stupid adventurers, and they liked boasting, but they said enough for us to put two and two together." "You should have mentioned it," said Donard. "I was going to," said Sylvia, truthfully. "But why did the priest call you blabbermouths?" Malin persists. "If it was the Yalarum men who did the talking." "I should guess," says Liz, "that their version of the story was very different from our version. They weren't going to blame themselves, were they?" "Suppose," says Malin, not overly convinced. But that conversation has been closed, and it won't be mentioned again. Right, we've woken up. It's the morning, and the staff of healing has been used on Carrick and Sylvia. Everybody's up to full health, apart from Donard, who's close, and Carrick, who's nearly at full health. Carrick has got 16, Donard has 22 HP. Well, I like rolling for the weather. It sort of adds a certain, well, it's meant to be the wilderness. We're meant to be far beyond civilization. There's no air conditioning or umbrellas. And that's, well, it looks like it might actually be a good day as we set off. But not quite certain. Yes, the clouds from last night eventually do clear away, and the sun shines, and we feel good. And there are no wandering monsters in the morning. What about evening as we get to the keep? Nope. And so we make it back to the keep. Seems like an age since we've been here. So we go back in. Now we have a lot of business to do at the temple. We have to get plate mail cleansed and the Warhammer +1 sanctified. Donner is up for that. And we also have to pay for all the jewels and gems to be de-eviled. And I'm going to say it might cost us a good 1,000 gold for all of this. And while we're there, we whispered to the curate, who is a very influential person within this entire keep. Can he do a remove curse on that helm of alignment change on Donard? Even though he hates wearing it, Donard cannot take it off. So, in a rather sneaky move, the curate suggests that Donard kneels in prayer to help with the sanctifying of all of these items. And while Donard is on his knees with his eyes closed and palms together, the curate then casts a remove curse and lifts the helm off Donard. Now that has quite a psychological effect on him, because he had given up his quest for vengeance. And that immediately all comes rushing back, and you might think that would be a terrible thing, but it actually fills up an empty void within him. As Sylvia quite rightly pointed out, there's no point in trying to solve a problem like that without trying to work out why it happened in the first place. And he feels back on his mission to find out why, and maybe he will realise himself that is what drives him. Now the gems and all the gold and dishes and things like that can be sold to the general store. But the large gem that Carrick particularly coveted, when the evil was taken off it, it has slightly changed. It has an iridescent hue going on. I don't know if you've ever seen a stone called labradorite. It has almost like a rainbow effect going on just below the surface. It's an illusion. Much like the way you can sort of see a rainbow in a puddle of oil on water. And it has these deeper reds and oranges, and it seems to have almost like a flame in the middle. It's an extremely desirable thing. And yes, his heart is taken by it, so he puts that into his backpack and probably will never let it go easily. I don't think it will corrupt his dwarven heart. It is good. Now the plate mail, as I said, has to be taken to the blacksmith here to get its straps adjusted so it fits Donard. That will take a day. He has a new warhammer, which we believe is magical. It's a warhammer +1. So he has a +1 strength bonus, +2 for training, +1 for his warhammer. So his damage is now 1d6 +4. Not complaining about that. The other thing we have to do is we have to go to this priest's home and see if we can find any letters or any documents that might give us more clues as to his dealings with the Iron Throne, or even what that whole evil temple was about. And the curate here asks us about this priest, and we tell him the fate, that, well, who he really was. And the curate says, "Oh my God, I ought to be horrified that I didn't spot his evil, but those happy good mornings just drove me mad. I owe you double thanks. If you'd told me that before, I wouldn't have charged you anything." This curate is an influential person, so there's a good chance he might take word of our deeds through the gatehouse to the other half of the keep, where you're only allowed into by invite. This half here, and we may actually get some official standing with the higher ups of this place. Let's go into this priest's home. And we are going to search everywhere. We find, sadly, just cash, gold, platinum and silver pieces, and a jewelled clasp worth 300 gold pieces. If he had any documents or any evidence tying him to the outside world, well, he was quite clever in either not keeping them here, or else he just kept all that information in his head. Okay, so apart from some treasure, that was a busted flush. It's the evening. We have to go back to the inn, and all that town business of selling things, going to the blacksmith, that's going to happen tomorrow. And when tomorrow comes, the blacksmith says, well, it's going to take several days to adjust this, so relax and make yourself at home. We have a pony to look after, we have bills to pay, there's enough to do, and Malin wants to try this weapons training thing that Donard and his sister Liz have gone for. The weapons mastery system does say that you need to train for 2 weeks and get a +2 to hit and damage if you're successful. Right. I think I might tweak that a bit. He's not going to train for 2 weeks with a dagger, but there isn't actually an expert trainer here to teach him. There is a skilled trainer. So he's going to try for 1 week, and if he's successful he gets a +1 to hit and damage, not the +2, and if he fails, he fails. So he's going to prepare to pay 250 gold for 1 week of dagger training, and he has a skilled trainer, so he has a 50% chance of success. Let's see, can he get a sort of nominal extra skill with the dagger for +1 to hit and damage? And he fails. Okay, poor guy. That's that. And then Sylvia spends this week in the foothills here, trying to get away from civilization and just live amongst the forest. And again, not for the first time, she sees in the trees a small sharp pair of eyes looking at her, and they seem quite happy to look at her and stare. Even if she looks back, they don't flinch, but if she makes a move towards the eyes, they disappear into the trees, and well, they're not seen again. Right, so there's an interesting thing lurking on in the forest here. Right, there are 2 caves left to do. There's this cave here, which stinks, and our ogre friend Francis has looked at this in the past and gone, no. So if he's not happy with it, we might ignore it. There's a cave entrance here, and we did clear out the bugbear lair and find a secret entrance here. Now we don't know those two are linked. Will we do it, or will we just pack up and leave? Well, that's to be decided for next time. See you then.